Welcome to the Real Crime Diary, daily dose of crime. I'm your host, MHB. Today we delve into a case that's gripping the nation. A Texas inmate sits on death row, hours away from execution. But here's the twist. He claims he's innocent, and now, in an unprecedented move, he's been called to testify before a state committee. Will this last-minute development save his life? Stay tuned as we unravel this shocking story. Let's dive into the heart-wrenching case of Robert Robertson. In 2002, Robertson was convicted of capital murder for the death of his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki Curtis. The prosecution alleged that Robertson had violently shaken his daughter, causing fatal injuries. This conviction relied heavily on the controversial diagnosis of shaken baby syndrome. However, as years passed, doubts began to surface about the validity of this diagnosis. Robertson's defense team argues that Nikki's death was not a result of abuse, but rather a combination of factors including pneumonia, sepsis, and the side effects of medication. They claim that the shaken baby syndrome diagnosis, once widely accepted, has since been called into question by medical experts. This case highlights the ongoing debate in the medical and legal communities about the reliability of shaken baby syndrome as evidence in criminal trials. As Robertson's execution date looms, the controversy surrounding his conviction has only intensified. In a stunning turn of events, the Texas Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence has issued a subpoena for Robert Robertson to testify before them on October 21st. This unprecedented move has thrown the scheduled execution into question. The committee's decision reflects the gravity of the concerns surrounding Robertson's case and sends a powerful message to Governor Abbott. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice is now in discussions with the State Attorney General's office to determine the next steps. This development could potentially delay Robertson's execution, giving his legal team more time to present their case. The subpoena not only highlights the seriousness with which legislators are treating the doubts in Robertson's case, but also underscores the growing debate around the use of shaken baby syndrome diagnoses in criminal proceedings. As we await further updates, the clock continues to tick, leaving us to wonder, will this 11th hour intervention be enough to halt the execution? At the heart of Robertson's case are his claims of innocence, which paint a very different picture of what happened to his daughter Nikki. According to Robertson's attorneys, there were several factors at play that could explain her tragic death without pointing to abuse. Nikki was suffering from double pneumonia that had progressed to sepsis, a life-threatening condition. On top of that, she had been prescribed 2 medications that are now considered inappropriate for children. These drugs could have further compromised her ability to breathe. The night before Robertson brought Nikki to the emergency room, she had fallen off a bed. Given her already weakened state due to illness, this fall could have had serious consequences. Robertson's legal team argues that doctors at the time jumped to conclusions, presuming abuse based on Nikki's symptoms, without fully exploring her recent medical history. They claim that the shaken baby syndrome diagnosis was a misdiagnosis, one that has since been called into question by numerous experts. Adding another layer to this complex case, Robertson's behavior in the emergency room, which was seen as uncaring and taken as a sign of guilt, may have actually been a manifestation of undiagnosed autism spectrum disorder. This diagnosis wasn't made until 2018, years after his conviction. As the case has gained attention, support for Robert Robertson has been growing from various quarters. Over 30 scientists and medical experts have rallied behind him, challenging the validity of the shaken baby syndrome diagnosis. Their expertise adds weight to Robertson's claim of innocence. In a surprising turn of events, a bipartisan group of more than 80 Texas legislators have also called for mercy. This level of political support is unusual and speaks to the serious doubts surrounding Robertson's conviction. Perhaps most compelling is the support from Brian Wharton, the former detective who led the original investigation. Wharton has publicly expressed shame over his role in the case, stating, "He's an innocent man, and we are very close to killing him for something he did not do." Despite this growing support, Texas officials remain opposed to halting the execution. They argue that Robertson has had ample opportunity to present his case in court and that the conviction should stand. This stark contrast between mounting public support and the state's firm stance adds another layer of complexity to an already contentious case. The legal battles surrounding Robert Robertson's case have intensified as his execution date approaches. His attorneys have filed a request for a stay of execution with the U.S. Supreme Court, arguing that his due process rights were violated when the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals refused to consider additional evidence supporting his innocence claim. Texas officials, however, are urging the Supreme Court to deny Robertson's emergency appeal. They maintain that he has been given ample opportunity to present his case and that the state habeas proceedings complied with due process. At the heart of this legal struggle is a Texas law known as the junk science writ. This law allows defendants to challenge their convictions when new scientific evidence emerges that wasn't available during their original trial. Supporters argue that this law was designed precisely for cases like Robertson's, where evolving scientific understanding could potentially exonerate a convicted individual. Despite the apparent relevance of this law to Robertson's case, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals recently denied his latest appeal on procedural grounds without reviewing the merits of his claims. This decision has sparked controversy and raised questions about the effectiveness of the junk science writ in practice. As the clock ticks down, these legal challenges underscore the complex interplay between science, law, and justice in our criminal justice system. At the heart of this case lies a contentious medical diagnosis, shaken baby syndrome. This condition, first described in the mid-1970s, has been a subject of heated debate in courtrooms across the country for years. On one side, we have child abuse pediatricians who fiercely defend the legitimacy of the diagnosis. They argue that shaken baby syndrome, now often referred to as abusive head trauma, is a real and devastating form of child abuse. These experts maintain that the diagnosis is based on a comprehensive evaluation of multiple factors, not just a simple checklist of symptoms. On the other hand, critics argue that the symptoms associated with shaken baby syndrome can be caused by a variety of other factors, including illness, accidents, or even certain medical conditions. They point out that since 1992, courts in at least 17 states have exonerated 32 people convicted in shaken baby syndrome cases. This ongoing controversy has significant implications for criminal justice. It raises questions about the reliability of medical evidence in court and the potential for wrongful convictions based on disputed scientific theories. As we continue to explore Robert Robertson's case, it's crucial to keep this broader debate in mind. The case of Robert Robertson raises critical questions about our criminal justice system and the use of medical evidence in court. It highlights the potential dangers of relying too heavily on a single diagnosis, especially one as controversial as shaken baby syndrome. This case forces us to confront the possibility that innocent people could be convicted and even executed based on flawed or outdated scientific theories. Moreover, it underscores the importance of continually reviewing and updating our understanding of medical evidence. As science evolves, so too should our legal system's approach to such evidence. The fact that a Texas House committee has taken the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Robertson speaks volumes about the seriousness of these concerns. As we reflect on this case, we must ask ourselves, how can we ensure that our justice system remains fair and accurate in the face of complex medical evidence? What safeguards should be in place to prevent wrongful convictions? And how do we balance the need for justice with the imperative to protect the innocent? And there you have it, folks. The case of Robert Robertson raises critical questions about our justice system and the use of medical evidence in court. What are your thoughts on this complex and controversial case? We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to check out our Real Crime Diary book series for more in-depth true crime stories. The link is in the description. Until next time, stay curious and question everything. Power, Pleasure, and Pain. A study of abuse through time. This book provides a detailed examination of how sexual violence and power dynamics have manifested across different historical periods, from ancient civilizations to the modern era. It explores how figures in positions of power used their influence to manipulate and exploit others, showing that the patterns of abuse we see today have deep historical roots. Many people struggle to grasp why abuse of power, particularly sexual violence, persists in modern society. By connecting historical events with contemporary cases, the book offers crucial insights into why such behaviors remain prevalent. The book analyzes infamous cases such as those of Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and Dominique Pellicotte, drawing parallels between them and historical figures. This section highlights how the systemic abuse seen in recent times is not a new phenomenon, but part of an ongoing cultural issue. Through the lens of these modern examples, readers will gain a better understanding of how institutions, wealth, and power have historically shielded perpetrators from justice, contributing to their ability to continue harming others. The book explores the philosophy of libertarianism, particularly through the works of Marquis de Sade, to explain the disturbing ways in which pleasure, power, and cruelty have been intertwined. This provides readers with a deeper philosophical context to interpret modern-day scandals. Unlike other studies that focus solely on historical or contemporary cases, this book uniquely blends both, offering a full spectrum of how abuse is tied to power dynamics. It stands out by making philosophical connections that help readers understand the deeper societal issues at play.